So my name is Pavion O'Connor. So as Vanessa said, I do her detail photography because sometimes the main photographer is just way too busy to get the photos back to her in a timely fashion. What I do for her is I come in, I get to be very relaxed. I'm there while she's setting stuff up, taking detail photos, and also I have time to pay attention to certain things. Also, I have time to pay attention to all the detail. I have time to zoom in on little things. I have time to look around the room and ponder different things. I even bring a extra lighter with me just in case they didn't get to light all the candles, and I'll help out and light the candles to make sure, because because the thing is, when it comes to details, details are a system. Details are a system. There's a lot of work in moving parts, and we all kind of have to pitch in to make it work, right? And there's a dynamic relationship between you guys and people like me, because you guys write the story physically. You guys put things together, right? And I get to find the angles and tell the story as well, right? And the beautiful part about it is that on the day of, at a wedding, your clients, they see everything. Like, they'll walk in, oh, the flowers are so beautiful, and I see the candles and the bling, and the colors are great, but they don't really find the time to appreciate it until they're looking back on the photos. You understand what I'm saying? Because you got a bride that's worried about grandma coming from the airport, and this one gotta bring that and bring my ring bearer and make sure he's behaving that day because I need him to walk down the aisle without. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these different things they're worried about. So they don't have the time to really appreciate your work. So that's where I come in. And Vanessa and I, we kind of had this like, I guess you could call it like a synchronicity, because when I got to Orlando, I wanted to, I wanted to do events and weddings, right? Because I come from Brooklyn, New York, right? So I wanted to do events and weddings, but what I found was that networking was the most important thing for me, right? And what I noticed is that I started meeting vendors, and every time they would tell me, these photographers, man, like, I'm standing there, at a break, and I'm talking to the decorator, I'm talking to the coordinator, and they're like, these photographers, they never get these pictures back to me. They never get these pictures. They months later, and everybody's on social media. Everybody wants to promote their thing now. You see what I'm saying? So it gave me the idea to say that anybody that's in my network, I will charge them a discounted flat fee rate. I mean, meaning, just for travel and just to get my stuff out there. And I will take detailed photos of their stuff and get them the photos, if not the next day, within 2 days. But ask Vanessa, it's usually the next day, right? It's usually the next day. Or the next day. Danielle, I did a lifestyle headshot shoot with Danielle just yesterday. And when did you receive your pictures? This morning. Okay. So, as a photographer, I've gotten to a point where, like, I know how to set all my settings, and I get the exposure right. So I throw everything in Lightroom, and I get your pictures back to you right away. It kind of sounds like I'm selling my services, and I am kind of. But what I want you to understand is that even if it's not with me, network with a photographer, right? And suggest it to them. Be like, hey, say I'll pay you. I'm not going to pay you like something an hour like a regular wedding photographer, because you don't have to come all dressed up. You don't need this. You don't need that. All I need you to do is come take some photos of my setup, please, right? And I'll give you some money or whatever it is, and then we get it done. Think about that for your branding, because your cell phones are cool. We know cell phones the cameras are getting better, right? We know that, but you don't even have the time to catch all the angles that you need to catch. You understand what I'm saying? And that's a lot of even with small businesses in general, a lot of times we're making money, but we don't think we're making enough to allocate something that's important to someone else. Like, we don't think we have enough money to bring help in. And sometimes that could be a mistake. You understand?
Say that again. You said that we're making money.
We're making money.
Sometimes we feel like we're not making enough money to add in certain things or to get out certain things.
To bring in help.
Okay.
To bring in help. There's a lot of us who, we need somebody to be on the phone. because sometimes we could be busy doing something else. Like I've been at wedding setups with Vanessa, and she's putting in the flowers and cutting the stems, and somebody's calling her about some wedding coming up next year. And she's like, well, I'm at a wedding right now, and if you could call me back. And she might need somebody else to do that. You understand? Because what it does is when you separate things, when you coordinate things, what it does is, and we were just talking about the system of details, it adds to the detail of your business. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to spend money. And that's another idea I wanted to talk about, that being cheap can be very expensive. You understand what I'm saying? Being cheap can be very expensive. Because here's what it is. If you're doing something that you love, right? If you're doing something that you love, you got to have a level of faith. You have to. You understand? Because to say that I want to hire a detail photographer, or I want to hire somebody to answer my calls and send out my invoices, or I want to get a second hand to help with this setup, and you're like, but I don't got enough money. Don't think that way. Think, I have just enough money to hire this person to help me with this situation that's going to make me more money in the future. You understand what I'm saying? And that brings me to my story. So my story is this. I was born in Jamaica, West Indies. My mom and my dad, they got married when I was 2. And then when I was 3, my dad came to America. So me and my mom was still in Jamaica. My mom and my dad it was around a time of anybody know who El DeBarge is? Okay, so that's this old R&B group from the 80s, right? And they used to send mixtapes back and forth, and pictures and letters, and while my dad was in America and me and my mom was still in Jamaica, because they were very in love. So what would also happen is my dad would send money for her to buy new clothes and stuff like that. So she wanted to send pictures to my dad in America. Only person she had to take pictures of her was me, little 3-year-old Pavion, right? So she was like, look through the hole and make sure not to cut off mommy's head, and press the button. And it's like, ever since I started doing that, it's just something I always loved. Just straight loved it. Just paying attention to detail, catching the views of things, understanding that this view is different from this view. You see what I'm saying? Everything has its angle. Everything has, how people can sit there, Kim Kardashian will tell you, take 200 selfies at least to find the right one. She will tell you that. I've heard her say that on interviews. And it's all about the angle. It's all about the lighting. It's all about, just capturing something in a moment from a certain perspective, right? And we all have our perspectives, right? So I fell in love with it, and then I've always found myself with the camera, but not until I was around the age of 30. And like Danielle, I was getting pissed off at corporate America as well. And I started to realize, I was like, well, what do I love? I love photography. And then somewhere along the way, I found out that these wedding photographers were making thousands of dollars off of photography, and event photographers and commercial photographers. And I was like, I love doing this. When the light hits a natural flower, I get to zoom in on the center of the rose. You know what I'm saying? If you think about, I saw this post on Facebook the other day where they cut a shell in half, and it showed you how in the middle of the shell is it goes into a center. You know what I'm saying? And then they showed a rose, and then they showed the human ear. And the point I'm trying to make is this detail in everything, right? This I ain't trying to do no chemistry like that, but the atom is the smallest thing we know about. The atom has I think it has a neutron. It has a neutron in the middle, and then it has protons and electrons circulating on the outside. Now, what does that remind you of? That reminds you of the solar system. So what I'm saying is detail from the very smallest thing to the galaxies. You see what I'm saying? To the cosmos, right? So if there's detail all the way from down there all the way to outer space, then I'm gonna need you to cover that room. You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna need you to be thoughtful and cover the details of that room from the atom to the cosmos, right?